Hello and welcome to Dominions 5 Let's Play Poorly. So a few things to start off to talk about here. First of all, I've only been playing this game for about 10-15 hours. I am still very much new to it. But I really like the game, and I have seen a lot of comments online about how this game is really hard to learn. It's got a super steep learning curve, and it's very daunting, and oh my god, and the tutorials don't help. I look on YouTube and I can't figure it out. Well, I'm here to tell you that's both true and also completely false. If you've been watching my channel, you know I'm an idiot, and I'm telling you this game is completely playable, even if you're new to the game. You don't have to know everything to enjoy it. You just have to kind of get the basics of like what you can do. And once you know what you can do, you can learn over time what you should do. I am not yet at what you should do. So if you're watching this for like the elite strats, I mean, just run, head out the door, go down the street, find somebody else, maybe Das Tactic, or oh gosh, what's the other guy's name? The one whose YouTube videos were helpful to me. I can't remember. Anyway, find them online. There's a bunch of playthroughs that are really good. But if you're here to watch me just derp through it, excellent. I am also going to try to do a little bit of tutorial-ish, with the caveat that, again, I'm not an expert, so what I'm going to be showing is essentially the most rudimentary stuff and like just how the screens work and so forth, so that if you feel like, oh god, it's too daunting, hopefully this will ease your sense of suffering just a little bit. Because of course, if I can play this game, a cow could play this game. So first things we want to look at here, I just want to point to, there's a bunch of good mods that you can find online. I have 3 of these installed but not activated because you really, I like overhaul mods and balance mods generally, but you can't obviously run them all at the same time, but you can turn them on and turn them off. It's pretty easy to install them. You can download them from a bunch of different places. The Steam Workshop has maps that you can add, but it doesn't have these kinds of mods. Those have to be installed externally. But it is really straightforward. In fact, if you go to the Tools and Manuals section here and click Open User Data Directory, that just literally takes you to where your mods get installed. So you don't even have to like know where to find the thing. It's right there. So, a couple other things I want to show you here in the preferences. There's a few things here. Now, this is not a 3D heavy game. You don't really need high graphics levels or even high graphics card. Like it can be nice if I could turn it on. You can see all the way in the distance, but you're never really going to need to. And frame rates also don't really matter too much. But if you just want it to be nice and smooth, keep it medium and low or whatever. It doesn't matter. If I run the benchmark here, you can see I'm getting about 45 FPS on my crappy little 4-year-old RX 580, and it's fine. The music volume defaults to really loud, like way up here, so I just usually keep it down at 30% or so. The music is really good, though. I'm very happy with the music. I encourage you to listen, to keep it on, because it really adds to the feel of the game. But over here in gameplay, there's a few things that you want to look at. Map edge scrolling. You can do those in windowed or in just full screen mode. The 2 that I like to have on here are warn on end turn, just so in case I forget that I've got a commander that needs to move, it'll tell me. It doesn't prevent me from continuing, it just says, hey, are you sure? And then multi-turn movement means you can kind of do like Civ style, where you give it multiple turns worth of movement and then it just proceeds through them as it goes. And then this one here I like to turn on sometimes, but I'm not going to this time because I'm pretty sure I'll forget that I've done it. Give orders to new commanders automatically. This option will put newly recruited mages on research if possible, it says at the bottom, and so on. So we're going to turn these on here. Now, one thing you should be aware of when you try to start playing this game, all of the information that you might need is really at your fingertips. Like, there's a lot of tooltips, there's so much information inside the game. I have, again, if you've watched my videos, you know I don't read manuals. I have not read the manual to this game. I've just watched a few YouTube videos just to get a general feel for it. And then, boom, here we are. So, let's go ahead and create a world. These here are maps that I added in from Steam Workshop, but I'm just going to do a random map. The map size here, small, medium, large, or enormous. And what this means is that the number of players that you have that you put in the game, that's the number of provinces that basically the size of the map is calibrated to the number of players based on the number of provinces that are listed here. So a medium-sized world will have 15 provinces in the map per player that you have in the game. Now, next up here, you can look at the map tweaks. Do you want to have as little water as possible, a normal amount of water, or lots of water if you want to play an underwater game? You can enable rivers, caves. You can have east-west wraparound, so it's like a normal like planet map, or north-south wraparound, or both if you want it to be funky and weird. You can do that, or if you want to have just a north-south wraparound so that the map kind of scrolls around north to south, so it's a weird sideways kind of map. Yeah, anyway, east-west wraparound is pretty cool. I like that. And now we're going to enter the game name. We're going to call this one derptorial. There we go. Okay, then there's 3 ages, and the main thing you want to know is early ages, high magic, late ages, low magic, high technology, middle ages, well, middle ages. I'm going to play in the middle age here. I haven't actually played a lot in the other 2. I've mostly done middle ages, but whatever your preference is, if you really like a high magic game, early ages is great. Okay, now we can choose our participants. You can add players. Now, there is a multiplayer version, like this game can be played multiplayer. I don't do that. I play solo, but the multiplayer sort of scene for this game is apparently pretty huge. There are a lot of Discord channels where they kind of gather players together and set up games, and if you're into that, this is a very, very good game for multiplayer from what I've heard. But I am shit at that sort of thing, so I'm not going to do that. Well, let me cancel out here. I'm just going to play against one AI right now because, again, I'm not really good, and I also don't want to have to focus too much on keeping myself alive while I kind of show the game. Now, you can right-click to go down in difficulty, left-click to go up in difficulty, and it cycles around. So we're going to go with Easy AI. There are a few different AI types: standard, defensive, aggressive, or random. Now, this is where, right after this is where people start to go, oh, fuck. What? Oh my god, I can't, right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to pick the AI's participant. We're going to pick their, what's called a class. It's kind of, think of it as a faction or a race, but they're called classes in the game. This is the default set of classes that come with the game. And as I said, there are mods that can add stuff and so on. I am going to... Now, so there's a bunch of options here for random. Just regular random, it'll just pick one at random. Or pick a random land-based nation, or pick a random water-based nation. Or you can actually specify which faction you want to do. I'm going to do random for the bad guy, as it were, the AI. And I'm going to go over here and look at what we have here for the nations for ourselves. If you hover over each of these, you can see down on the bottom, there's a whole bunch of different ones. So, for example, look at Ulm. Ulm is a human kingdom famous for its steel. They use heavy infantry of heavy knights. Even their crossbowmen use heavy armor. Their smiths, earth mages of limited skill, are able to forge magic items at a reduced cost. The priests of Ulm are weak. One of the things about Ulm, it's often recommended for new players. It's low magic as a faction and low bless, which I'll get to in a minute. It mostly relies on technology. And there's a few others that are like that. Let's see, there's one... Where's this guy? Is he in here somewhere? He's in here. So Jotunheim is a similar one, kind of. They are very similar in terms of being suggested for new players. They're pretty tanky. They're fairly easy to play. I usually play this. I usually pick a random one. I usually decide to go random and just let it say, figure me out, and it's like, okay, well, here's we go. Let's just do it. But what I'm going to do this time around, I am actually going to go with Ulm. And no particular reason other than you will see other people online doing tutorials with Ulm. And it's a good way, by doing this myself, you'll be able to like kind of match up ideas together. So that's really the only reason. I personally would not necessarily recommend Ulm. I would recommend just picking one and just figuring it out as you go, because that's how this game works. Is like you figure it out as you go. It's the only way to play it. You could try to learn everything up front and min-max it and optimize it right from the get-go. You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna think that the learning curve is way too steep. You're not gonna have fun. All right, so we're choosing these participants. Okay. So this is the flavor text about Ulm. It does give you a little bit of information here. Ulm is a young kingdom, risen from the Ulmic tribes, conquered by the fallen empire of Airmore. From the ashes of Airmore emerged a new kingdom, true to its ancient legacy, the enigma of steel. The smiths craft armor and weaponry for lords and kings, but the strength of steel is preferred over magic. Even religion is of secondary importance in Ulm, though an iron cult that worships steel in a more devout fashion has emerged in recent times. So that's actually just telling you right up front that this is mostly a technology-based faction, a class, as it were. And there's not going to be as much magic, and there's not going to be as much holy stuff, which, you know, is fine. It's a good way to start, but personally, I kind of like the magic-y ones and the blessy ones. So the race, stocky humans, they have production bonuses in all castles. The military is mostly heavy infantry, crossbows, knights, and superior armor. Their magic styles, their magic domains basically are earth, fire, and rarely air and astral. And we'll see in a minute what the various magic schools are. Superior magic item forging. Smith's research is not affected by drain scale. I'll talk about that in a minute. Their priests are weak. They build standard forts. Master masons can build better forts. Forts produce 25% more resources. So this is kind of telling you what their starting details are. And these are the kinds of commanders that you can have. These guys are the ones that run armies. They're the leaders of armies, and they have their own different skills and abilities. Spies, commanders of Ulm, Black Lords, Black Acolytes, Master Smiths, Master Masons, Lord Guardians, Black Priests, and Priest Smith. I always find this guy looks very cute. I like his little head there. And if you want more information about any of these, you just right-click. And it tells you, it gives you this, like, basically a fire hose of data. Which, again, you should probably at some point get familiar with all this stuff. But I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna tell you here, this is how much it costs to make this guy in gold, resources, and recruitment points. There's his hit points, his strength, and all these other stats, which will probably be meaningful to you later on. But when you start, I mean, sure, that's a lot of info to have in your head all at once. So just know that obviously higher numbers are better. And so depending on your play style, you're going to want to kind of pick guys that fit the needs that you have at that particular time. God, I love this guy's little head. He looks like a little KKK guy. I don't know why I find that so adorable. I am definitely not a supporter of the KKK by any stretch. Or you know what he looks like? He looks like the guy in that video game Rolling Thunder. Like he looks like the bad dudes with those weird heads. Anyway, down here you get information about his sort of non-numerical stats. Well, they're all numerical, but yeah. So he's a fire mage and an earth mage. He's level 1 and level 2 in that. He's a priest of level 1. His research ability is 11. He is sacred, which will matter down the road, but not at the moment. We'll talk about that. He's a mundane researcher. Now, if I want to know what that means, I can right-click. A researcher with this ability will not have his magic research hindered by a drain scale in any way. Over here, he has a resource bonus. Again, what does that mean? Right-click. This unit aids in the production of armaments for new warriors. Extra resources are granted to the fort this unit is located in. Yay! Okay. And then he has a forge bonus, which again, very efficient when forging magic items. The bonus is the cost reduction in gems, which we will get to. He has a weapon that's a maul. He does blunt damage. If I right-click, this tells me about his maul. Damage of 9. He's a two-handed weapon. He's got no attack bonus. Weapons generally cause detriments. They cause penalties to defense. Bigger, heavier, lumberier weapons are worse on defense. And then the length of the weapon. And then this is his armor. got a protection of his body. Armor also sort of counterintuitively reduces his defense, but defense is kind of like dodge, the avoidance of getting hit. It's 1 point of encumbrance, and it gives him a map movement penalty. But it protects 10 points worth. So there's a drawback. I mean, the defense of -1 is tied into the defense skill, but it does add protection. So let's exit out of here. And then these are the units. These are the grunts on the ground. And they, again, have their own stats. They typically don't have any weird special abilities. They are usually a lot cheaper. And they have their own weapons and armor. And, you know, yay. Okay, oh, another thing I should mention is, like, these guys, commanders and so forth, can be given magic items. And that's what we saw earlier, where you can forge items. And you can give magic items to these guys. And it gives them bonuses. These are their sites, the Keep of Ulm and the Forges of Ulm. This is what they start with. And we're going to hit OK. So we are Ulm. And now, this is the second stage where everybody's like, oh, jeez, this is tough. It's not that bad, trust me. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, so first thing we're going to look up here is the design points. Basically, you're creating this god character, and you have 185 points to play with. You can make him imprisoned, either awake, dormant, or imprisoned at the start of the game, and that just basically means, as you can see here, a dormant pretender god will awaken in a year's time, give or take a few months. An imprisoned pretender god will break free in 3 years' time, give or take half a year. So, here's the deal with dominions. The big Pantocrator, the big, all-powerful, all-encompassing god, has left the building, just like Elvis. He's gone. And now a whole bunch of pretender gods have come in and be like, nope, it's me now. I'm the big guy. I'm Big Kahuna, Big Cheese. Everybody bow to me. And dominions are their spheres of influence. So the game is about the combatants of these various believers in the gods duking it out for control. So you play a particular faction called a class, and you pick your god and you design your god, who then commands or rules over, or I should say is just the divinity of your faction. Most gods can actually exist on the battlefield. They can actually get into fights, and they can be involved. Some of them don't. Some of them just chill out at home, and you'll see in a second what I mean. If I click on this, this is a list of all of the gods that are available to Ulm. Down at the bottom are these Dominion 1 level guys. These are the weakest pretender gods. I think they're called, people are calling them rainbow gods or something, or like some of them are rainbow gods. I don't know what that means. I mean, I kind of sort of do, but don't worry about it. It just means these guys are the little dinky-doos. They don't have a lot of points available to them. Right? They're just dinky-doos. Dominion 2 are these monstery types. They're all freaky looking. They're very cool. Except for this guy, weird dude in a cloak, and these weird little tiny guys. Well, one's a Master Lich and one's a Ghost King. Well, okay, I guess you can play with the big boys. Dominion 3 are Dominion 3 guys. These are guys that are just like bigger and nastier and like, you know, fancier, and then they got horses. And then Dominion 4, these guys don't move. These guys are conceptual deities, basically. This one's a frickin' tree. And this one is an idol. This one's an idol, that's an idol. This one is a monolith. That's a fountain. So these Dominion 4 guys, they just sit in the house, and everybody comes and gives obeisance to them. So they can't move around on the battlefield, really. They can't, like, go places. But the rest of these guys can go places. Now, the one that was selected here is Duyu of Thunder. Now, if we look at him, we left click on him, we can select him. If we right click on him, we get, again, his stats. How much he costs. I should say it's not how many points they give, it's how much they cost to have them. This is the hit points, strength, his map move, size, attack, and so forth. Because these guys can do shit, right? If I go over here to the tree, his map move is 0. He cannot move on the map. He is stuck in place because he's a fucking tree. He's got bears too, little bears. He has 3 great bears at his side at the start of each battle. Which is to say, if he gets into battle, if someone attacks him in hometown, he will be there, and then he's got bears. You know, it's always great to have bears. But if we look at this guy, he doesn't come with any stuff, any items, but this means he can take items. You can put items on him. He's a fire mage, an air mage, a water mage. He has research of 11. He's shock resistant. He's got storm immunity, and he's got power of the turning year. What the fuck is that? This unit is more powerful during the height of each season and will get increased strength, attack, and defense during those months. Nice. That's good to know. I will probably forget. If I pick this guy, I'm sure I'll forget all about that. These are the weapons he's got. He's got a Thunder Fist, which sounds freaking cool. He's got the Wheel of the Turning Year, whatever that is. And he's got Lightning. And then this talks about who he is. This is his Dominion level, which is to say how influential he is. And new magic paths cost 60. So he's currently got fire, air, and water. If I wanted to add, say, earth or astral or what have you, it'll cost me 60 points in the character creation. So if I pick this little great enchantress, Dinky Doo, I have a lot more points to work with. But she's tiny. This guy's even tinier. This Svartalf Mastersmith. Ooh, but you know, that's not the guy I wanted. I want this guy. Why can't I take him? That's weird. There's apparently a glitch in the game here. This is super default level. Well, let's see. Who's the eldest dwarf? I guess I can't take Svartalf. That's too bad. Hopefully that gets fixed at some point. But that doesn't matter. Let's look at the eldest dwarf here. He only costs 70. He is an earth mage. Research ability of 7. He's got mountain survival, dark vision, and he's a master smith. Wish I could take this guy. This Svartalf. He's a master smith. I'm sure Ulm would love to have him around. But, you know, we've got a bunch of other guys here. So let's take this. Let's look at this eldest dwarf. We're going to take this eldest dwarf guy because, man, he's so cute. He's a Dominion 1, so he's kind of weak in terms of his influence. But new magic paths only cost 20 for him. So he's Earth only right now to start with. So you can see here he's level 1 in Earth and level 0 in everything else. But if you want to be able to bless your sacred units, and not all of your units are sacred, and for the Ulm people there aren't that many sacred units available, you need to have at least a level of 4 in one of these. So I'm going to at least get this one to level 4, and you can see here the design points goes down because I'm spending points, and now suddenly, as soon as I hit level 4, I have 4 bless points. If I drop down by right-clicking, you lose my bless points. You lose your bless points on that. It's got to be at least 4. So let's go ahead and give him some fire magic as well. Do we want to give him something else, like some death magic or blood magic? I've never done blood magic. That's crazy shit. But you know what? Maybe we'll stick for this right now, and then we'll figure the rest of this out in a minute. Now we've got these bless effects, and now we can add bless effects. Now what bless effects are is when a character, when your god or when you guys cast a bless spell, it applies the bless effects to the sacred characters that are on the battlefield with you. And this number of icons here is indicative of the number here that you have available to you. So if I do superior morale, then I only have 3 points left because it's a 1 level bless effect. I can do up to 4 total points. Anything else above that, I can't do. This here incarnate only means that only when the pretender god has awakened, so if you do him as asleep or dormant or imprisoned, you can't do these spells or these blesses until later on, until they kind of come onto the battlefield, come onto the board, as it were. So we've got these options here, so we can mix and match up to a total of 4. And over here, we can mix and match up to a total of 4 on Earth. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him be awake. So maybe I will bring myself up to 5 in each, maybe? Well, let's see how that works. So now that gives me these options too. Death Explosion and Heat Aura. Or Fire and Shock Resistance. These will only work if he's incarnate. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I want that. But, Death Explosion. What the heck is that? Blessed units will explode in huge fireballs when they die. Oh, damn. Heat Aura. Blessed units with the Heat Aura will spread extreme heat around them that will fatigue or put on fire everyone nearby. The heat is more intense in hot climates. This blessing will also grant some heat resistance. I like Death Explosion. That sounds fucking awesome. Do 1 bless of that takes up all of my bless points, and then I have these Earth guys left. So I'm going to do Reinvigoration, which recovers fatigue faster, and Reconstruction, which does healing. And again, this only affects sacred units, and Reconstruction affects sacred inanimate units, such as sacred statues or telestic animates, will reform their bodies and recover from damage over time. Reinvigoration affects all blessed units. So I'm going to do Reinvigoration, and let's do... Oh, I could also do Strength of the Earth. Blessed units will receive increased strength, +2 strength. Ooh, maybe that's what I'll do, because I have them at level 5, so I have 3 points left. So let's do that one. We have 143 design points left. So we've got Dominion, we've got Order, and what the heck are these? So these are what are called the Scales. So the Scales are... Basically, they're going to be special effects in your territories. So, because this guy's a little shorty dude, he is a Dominion level 1. So it says down below, this represents the strength of the Pretender God's divine power and measures how strongly the Pretender God will influence his surroundings. Over time, out of your home base, your God's dominion expands. And the whole idea is you want it to expand as outward as much as you can to impact the scales and other things that'll be going on. So, he's a little punk. He doesn't have a lot. Order and turmoil, productivity and sloth, heat and cold, growth and death, fortune and misfortune, magic and drain. So these are opposing elements. So if I left click, it goes positive. You can see here, boom, boom. If I right click, it goes negative, essentially to the oppositional thing. So this is going up to order and down to turmoil. You can go down as far as 3 or up as far as 3. And as you can see, this has dominion effects. Increases income, reduces unrest, gives you more recruitment points, resources, and reduces the number of events that happen in that zone. Productivity and sloth gives you more income, or the reverse, reduces your income, but you get points for that. Right? You can see I'm getting 40 points back if I go into sloth. Heat and cold will always cost points because it effectively depends on what your particular god likes and what your people like. Growth and death, income, supplies, and growth. Luck gives you positive luck or bad luck, increases the number of events that happen. Magic and drain, dominion effects, you get points back, but it reduces your research points. Now, if you recall, the Smiths of Ulm don't suffer from drain effects. So maybe we'll just keep it like that, and then we can use these points. So I want my little short dude to be punching way outside of his weight class. So let's bring him up to Dominion 3. Give him some order, to give him some more income, give him some more productivity to improve all of this, because I am shit at this game, so anything that's going to help me with resources and stuff is a good thing. Don't really want to worry about heat and cold. Growth and death is also helpful. And maybe a little bit of luck. Now I have only 2 points left, can't really use them, we're good. I could go dormant if I want to, and then he won't appear for about a year. Or imprisoned, and he'll take 3 years. But we're just going to have him be awake. This is fine. I don't know if it's any good. Doesn't matter. Just play the game. Figure something out, and play the hand you're dealt, and learn the game that way. That's my best advice. Just take what sounds cool, and see what happens. Now, if you're still figuring out, like, what do my people want? Well, you can always view your nation back here. Say, oh, yeah, that's right. Earth, fire, so on and so forth. Yeah, okay, we're good. We've now hit 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and name my god here. All praise Regin. This is game settings. This is all pretty much just fine, but fine. Excuse me. A little bit of COVID suffering from my my 2-week-old COVID infection. My throat is still a little bit funky. Anyway, you can do some things here just to adjust some game settings. We'll just leave it as it is. And now we are generating the world. Creating a random map, as you can see. Putting in some color, dirtifying, planting farms, planting trees, sprinkling rocks. Okay, we're nearly there. This will obviously only happen the first time you start a save because it has to create the random map. You could also use a map that you've downloaded from either through the workshop or from somewhere else online, and then it won't have to do this because it will have a map already in place. And the nice thing about those created maps is that they use different art styles from the one that the game uses, because the physical cartography is not dependent on what it looks like, it's dependent on the underlying stuff. So you can do all funky kinds of art. It's really great. So, in the beginning there was chaos. Out of chaos rose worlds populated with multitudes of beings. And then eventually, the age of chaos ended. Now the wheel has turned once again. The supreme god has suddenly disappeared. And now we've got these pretenders coming in. This is the Ascension Wars. There we go. And here we are in the map. And as I mentioned, I have it on east-west wraparound, so I can just keep on going forever and a day, wrapping around the map. Whee! There we go. But here we are. This is our dominion. This is where we are. This is where our influence is. And if you right-click, and now the clicking is going to be weird, you're just going to have to get used to it. If you right-click on a province, you will select it. And you can see here, it's got one candle. The dominion strength of this province is 1 for me, in my favor. It's got 1 level of order, 1 level of productivity, 1 level of growth, 1 level of luck, and 1 level of drain. And that impacts these stats up here. But we've passed 30 minutes, so I'm going to leave detailing more about this for the next one. I hope you continue with this. I really, really hope that as I play through this, it will kind of reduce any terror you might have about learning the game. Like I said, if I can learn this, a cow can learn this. So you should have no problem. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.